Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today we have with us Professor Vidya Deshpande.
Hi.
She's yeah, she's been in print media to television to whatnot, and today we are discussing something with her on how the tourism segment can benefit from, say, setting up something which is, say, for women. That is something which she has experimented with, an entrepreneurship thing which she has done. So, Vidya, can you just explain us, like, see, a lot of people are now coming out for, say, tourism segment, and
Yes.
how you have taken up the women-only tourism in
Um,
that.
yeah. So when I took that up about 6, 7 years ago, it was a very niche segment. There were actually practically no players except for one person who was doing it. And then we brought in this thing of doing not just women traveling solo, but also women doing adventure kind of travel. So, in India, it's very difficult for women to leave their home and families. And every time a woman says that I'm going to go and, climb Mount Everest on my own, or, go on this trek or do some diving, there's always objection from the family. People are always saying, no, 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 how can you go alone as a woman? And how can you do something like this? It's dangerous, etc., etc. But when there's a group of women involved, then it kind of becomes safety in numbers. People are a little more comfortable thinking that, okay, she's going with this group of women, she's going with this group of people who are experienced, so there won't be any problem. So that was the thinking, and it did work well also. And thereafter, now what has happened in the market is a lot of people are offering this kind of women's travel. So it's very interesting because it offers opportunities for Indian women to move out of the house and travel, which otherwise they could not do. Most of the time, they could only travel with their family. And what happens when you travel with the family is you still end up doing the things you're doing at home, because you're still looking after food for the kids, for husband, for in-laws, etc. When you go on a trip like this, you don't have any of those worries. So women are really able to let their hair down and do what they want to do. So that
Okay,
is
so
something that I
yeah.
experienced.
So, what was the response from the age group? Like, say, is that youngsters were keen to have these trips, or the middle-aged, or maybe the
No, it
retired?
was more the middle-aged people, that middle-aged women that I found, between 35 to about 55, who wanted to experience all of this. Of course, we have had some older women also on our trips, and I've had younger women also on the trips. Not saying that, they also don't enjoy it. They also enjoy it a lot. But we found that, women who generally have had a couple of kids, etc., that kind of thing, they want to just go out and experience something on their own. So that is something very interesting. And another trend that I'm now seeing more than the women groups is solo travel. So a lot of women in India, they want to also travel on their own. They don't want to go with a group or even with people. They just want to go on their own. So that's also something very interesting, that usually we always think that our country cannot offer safe spaces for women, that somebody traveling on their own will always have an issue. But here I think it's a little different, because now slowly there are some states where it has become safe to travel, and women are traveling on their own.
Okay.
So that's an interesting trend to look at.
Okay, so when we take tourism as a whole, do you think, say, the governments have to push in something into attracting these women to travel in that sense? Can
Yeah,
governments do
see,
something?
the problem with tourism at this point is post-pandemic. Tourism has been one of the sectors that has been very badly hit, and people are just now starting to travel. Okay, and yes, as a government, I think the biggest thing that they need to ensure is safety. especially when women are traveling on their own. So if you're going camping, you're out in the wilderness where there's absolutely nothing around you. And one big thing is safety. Women want to know that they're going to be safe when they're traveling like that. So yes, governments can definitely step in and make sure that these tourist places are safe, and not just tourist places but places where people can go and travel, offbeat kind of places should also be made safe. So that should be a priority, because there are a lot of, especially abroad, Indian tourism always tends to get a bad name, saying that there are people who cheat you. There are cases of women who get molested, etc. uh, that is something that the governments need to work on, to ensure that all this cheating of especially tourists who come in from abroad is kind of curbed. Not that it doesn't happen in other countries. Every country has its share of tourists getting cheated, but we need to kind of bring down those incidents, and we also need to make it safe for women.
Okay. So, Vidya, you've been in the education segment quite some time now. So, what do you think can say tourism as a subject been brought into the higher education at least? Um, say we used to have say Bharat Yatras and all part of the IAS curriculum when the
Yes,
Masuri
yes.
School of yeah.
I think
So,
that's something that should be brought into every curriculum, especially college kids. They need to do this kind of Bharat Darshan, because many times we don't appreciate what is available in our own country. And also, many times, these days, students, they are really mollycoddled a lot by their parents, especially the ones who come from slightly, better income groups. They don't get to experience these kind of things, traveling by a train, going to small towns. So this kind of thing only comes when you do a Bharat Darshan kind of thing. I think the government of India has a program where every year in December they do take college kids on a 1 month tour. But it's really just a very small program. It needs to kind of be more open. And I think if every college brings it in as part of their education, there's no better learning than that, because traveling is the best educator. And especially for a course like journalism or something that you're doing, you really get to see the real India when you travel like that, by train, by buses, going and staying in villages, meeting tribal people. We often have these preconceived notions about people who live in villages, people who live in tribes. And this kind of travel can really open up minds of students, especially
okay.
going and just, maybe just staying in a village where you don't have a place to sleep. You roll something out on the floor, and the roof is the sky with the stars above.
Yeah, it's kind of a rural tourism that has to be like enhanced and put into this youngsters' mind.
Yes,
Um,
and that kind of rural tourism can also be a very great experience for the people who live there also. It kind of gives them an income also, usually people in rural areas, they don't have too many avenues to earn money. If you go and see in a lot of villages, what is happening is that most people, they're going out of their villages to find jobs. If you go to villages in Bihar, in UP, etc., you'll find that the men folk are missing from the villages, because they're all going out to the cities looking for jobs. And what better way than, if you can do some rural tourism, people can come and live in their homes, and they can earn money. They can, by renting out their rooms, by giving food, and even selling their art and craft to people who come into the village. And it's
yes.
also a great way for the village to kind of get together and, uh, you know, maybe the sarpanch gets them to do some development work in the village, beautify the village so that more people will come.
Yeah, and
So
the
this is
facilities
like,
also like yeah, rural festivities also been showcased in that sense.
Exactly. So there are some states which do it. Like, for example, I've been to Nagaland. They have this great thing called the Hornbill Festival, which happens every year in December, where they showcase all their 17 tribals from Nagaland. They have a space in a stadium, which is something like our Dilli Haat. And all these people come and they have their tribal huts there and they showcase their culture there. And from there, people do go and stay in villages in Nagaland. And one of the beauty of Nagaland villages, they are the most clean places in this country. So one of these villages that I went and stayed once, it's a fantastic experience. It's a village called Konoma. It's a warrior tribal village, and
Mm.
but they have this thing of being the cleanest village in India, one of the cleanest villages, and they really take care of keeping their village clean. And you can see even teenagers, 16, 17, 18-year olds, sweeping the roads in the village, and it's really fascinating to see that, and like a lot of them are Christians, so during Christmas time, they decorate even the street sides and the roundabouts and all. They have these little nativity scenes they put up over there. So it's very interesting to go and visit those kind of places and learn a lot from there. I
Mm.
think even places like Kerala and all, which have these small, beautiful green villages, rural tourism can do very well. And then you have local arts and culture like dances and those kind of things which they can showcase. It can really pull in the tourists. I think there was a movie also, something about this in one of those Malayalam movies, no?
Yeah,
That,
certainly look into that. No, that aspect has always been a part of the movie culture in Kerala also. So
yeah,
when it comes to digital India, no, the Prime Minister is promoting digital India. Do you
yeah.
think that we can connect, say, digital India to the tourism segment also, like
That
the
is the
youngsters
biggest
going
connect. That is the biggest connect before, because if you look at things like Instagram, which are
in?
very popular, what is the thing that most people are posting? They're all posting pictures of their holidays.
Yeah.
Everyone is posting pictures of whatever trip they went to, and it's a voyeuristic thing. You see somebody has gone on this trip and you see their pictures, and then you say, oh man, even I want to go there, even I want to see this. So social media is the biggest thing for travel and tourism. It's the biggest connect, because everyone, whether it's Facebook or whether it's Instagram or whether it's Twitter, everybody is looking at other people's holiday pictures. This is what is generally happening. People put out these pictures on their Instagram because they want to see people that, okay, we've gone on this holiday, come and see where I went, look at this place that I am, it's so beautiful, etc. So social media is huge for travel, and
Okay.
I really think that people, tourism people in this industry, they already are using it, but it's one of the best forms of advertising for them. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes all the senses to have digital India also connected to the tourism industry. Uh,
yeah,
one last question I am very keen to know is that,
yes.
see, when you take say families in one set, if you take women only, so don't
Hmm.
you think there is a need for men only traveling then in that sense? What do you, how do
See,
you?
yeah, well, I see where you're coming from, but in our country, India, it
Mm,
is easily accepted if a guy,
mm,
even if like a 16-year-old or even a 25-year-old guy, picks up his backpack, puts it on his back, and says, "Okay, I'm going on a 10-day trip." Nobody in the house questions him. The mother will never question him. The father will, they'll say, "Okay, go have fun, son." But if a girl picks up a backpack and puts it on and says, "Listen, I'm going on this backpacking trip on my own,"
mm.
there's a general flurry, and people are saying, "No, no, no, how can you go? You're a woman, you're alone, you can't travel." There may be exceptions to this rule. I know of many women who have done this, but generally, um, men, it's accepted. Okay, guys will go, they'll have their guy gangs. You always hear of these trips that bunch of guys going to Goa and having fun and coming back. Nowadays, women are also going. I'm not saying that women are not going to Goa and having their girl gang fun and coming back. But for men, it's that much easier. That's all. So if we have people who, governments and tourism organizations and hotels and people involved in the tourism industry, facilitating this kind of travel where you're making it safer for women to travel in groups or solo, there'll be more women who'll definitely go out. Because once that fear is out of their mind, they'll travel.
That's wonderful. One more question. See,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
sure.
fitness. Fitness has been very, very near and dear to you. So how
Yes.
will you connect? How will you connect that fitness to this kind of a say tourism segment? Can we do something in that aspect also?
Yeah, if you have things like going on a trek, right? So
Mhm.
that involves a certain level of fitness. And then, of course, you can grade the treks that if people are not really into fitness, then you can do an easier trek for them and say, this is okay, a beginning level thing. Anybody can do this kind of trek. And then you have treks which you keep raising the level where the fitness level has to be higher. And people will come. And there are also things like people do these yoga retreats. It's quite popular. People want to go to a quiet, serene place and learn yoga and meditation. It's quite popular in a lot of places like Rishikesh, and even there are some places in Kerala where they have these yoga retreats that are very popular. Uh,
And about marathons also, like you've been
yes,
part of many
that's
marathons.
also become a big this thing that you go for a run and you also go and visit the
Right.
place and enjoy it. So what's happening in India is that now almost every city, whether big or small, have started holding marathons because running has become quite the big thing. You even a small town like Sangli has a marathon, and even big city, everybody goes to Mumbai for the marathon, or they come to Delhi for the marathon. It's no longer that only Delhi, Mumbai have marathons. Almost every city has a marathon, and that is a fantastic way of introducing running also to people. You can also make it a travel kind of thing where you can do these trail runs where you're running through the forest, or through the mountain. That kind of a thing also happens. And the other thing that you can do is do it over like a when you have a long weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So first day you arrive, and on a Friday, maybe if it's a hilly place, you can just do a forest walk. And then on the second day you do some kind of an obstacle thing, and on the third day you have the actual marathon race. There are lots of people who, or cycling, hugely popular. Cycle tours are getting really popular now in India. And one of the things that happened during the pandemic also, because people were at home for a long time, a lot of people started buying cycles and they started cycling. So there are a lot of cycling groups also. And these cycling groups also go on these tours. And many of them, cycling groups, the thing that they love is to go into rural areas and cycle where you have good roads, no big trucks coming on the road because it's not safe for cyclists. They love doing this kind of thing, driving on those kind of roads, cycling on those kind of roads, and doing like a cycling holiday. That is something has become popular. Another thing related to fitness and sports and all is adventure driving kind of travel.
Okay.
People go on these long drives and they drive over dunes, sand dunes, etc. in Rajasthan, or maybe go to Ladakh and drive in the remote mountains. That's also becoming hugely popular. And that reminds me, talking of running, there are people who do the Ladakh marathon also.
Mhm.
So this kind of running and traveling to a place is kind of becoming very popular here in India now.
Okay, Vidya, thank you very much for spending the precious
Thank
time
you
and
so much,
yeah,
Shajan, for
great.
having me. Good talking to you.